Hi, leaders. Welcome to Leader Talks. And you are here with three of our hosts, all of us, Chantal Camarillo, Rosario Lawrence, and Dr. Vanessa Montañez. And we all came together really just to empower, inspire one another. And today's topic revolves all around benefits. Have you already completed your benefits? It's just a friendly reminder, a PSA, to take a little bit more time to analyze some of the benefits, additional benefits that may come as a result of various options that you may have through your employer benefits, or if you're self-employed, right? What changes have taken place this year that may not basically cover you next year? These are all little things, as every year, sometimes these benefits do change time over time. And so for us here at Leader Talks, it's critically important for us to stay on top of our benefits. I know you'll probably hear from Vanessa in terms of some experience she's had in terms of just the changes that she went through from one insurance provider to the next and how that impacted her. And then myself as a parent, I realized that there's additional benefits, tangible benefits for me that are cost cutting, have a tax-free kind of, who wants to pay more, right, in taxes when it comes to health savings plans as well, that I personally have not tapped into, but I know Rosario has. So with that, I popcorn this over to Dr. Vanessa Montañez. What would you recommend for our leaders out there based on your insight?
Well, Chantal, that is a great question. So typically, most providers, most companies will offer you some type of insurance, health insurance. And this is what I'm talking about, benefits for right now. So you could do an HMO or a PPO, and what are those differences? And it's important that you know what works for you and your family and your budget. However, there's always room to change there. So I'll give you a personal example. So HMO are normally, it's a cheaper health plan. So it's a health maintenance organization. That's what it stands for. And PPO is a preferred provider organization. So when you work with an HMO, normally there's lower health costs associated with, because you're going to one provider, one doctor, you have coordinated care. So everyone is part of this network. And then you have a lot more emphasis on preventative care. Those are normally what happens. When you have a PPO, then you have flexibility in the choices that you make. You'll have your primary doctor, but then you can go to any other doctor. And then you can go to out of the network. So it doesn't have to be in that network. And you decide and pick and choose, like a la carte, what doctors you want, specialists that you need, dermatologists that you need, and you don't have to wait for referrals. So I have always been an HMO person because I'm normally pretty healthy. Well, through the pandemic, I got really, really sick. And I was always Miss HMO. And the 1 year that I switched over, I missed not having the PPO option because I had to wait for referrals, and that delayed for me to go see doctors. So instead of having something relatively easy process to get fixed within a month or two, it took me 8 months. And every month my health kept deteriorating. So I had to wait for a rheumatologist. That took 3 weeks plus to get then to see that rheumatologist on their schedule. So it's really important that you look at what are the consequences for a really bad day that you might wake up really sick. I will never go to an HMO again. Now I have an option. I will always go PPO because you just never know. You want that a la carte situation where you don't have to wait for a referral per se. That was my bad experience. And so I learned I'd rather pay a few $100s extra a year or whatever that difference was, but have that peace of mind to know that I will pick my doctors. I still have my primary, but now if I want to see a dermatologist or oncologist or rheumatologist, whatever doctor you want to see, that you have that control of your health.
And a bit
So
more
that,
a bit more flexibility. And
yeah.
because I know I'm an HMO, right? HMO baby here, Kaiser baby. And it works for me given, just the proximity of where my hospital is located. It's been relatively easy for my family. I've got the application on my phone just to schedule, get my lab results, all of that. It works for me. However, I know with your health experience, Vanessa, that was something extremely eye-opening for, I would say, the entire family to realize just how difficult it was and the speed at which you weren't given that, just availability, especially when you were battling with your health. And so that's something to also take in mind as you're looking at your options. It's really taking the time to print out the actual plans in detail and not just doing it, fly by the seat where it's an auto renewal where we can just, automatically by default, because that was our choice last year. Some employers will automatically re-enroll you if you don't select. So that's another thing to look out for. So just take the time, print it out, and just side by side comparison to see whether or not that really does meet your needs or your family's needs, right, Rosario?
Absolutely. And I think that, one of the other things we haven't touched on, but is sometimes our programs are aligned with some sort of like cushion of money. You set aside pre-tax dollars to help cover some of the medical costs that are involved, whether you have an HMO, PPO, or some type of hybrid type of insurance we have seen kind of come out in the last couple of years. So that's always an opportunity for you to look at and invest a little bit, put it aside. And sometimes your company matches a certain percentage or certain amount of dollars. I know that in the past, sometimes you'd be able to take, for instance, a class on, nutrition, or participate in some sort of like walk for, all up with your organization, and you'll get a $50 deposit into that account in addition to whatever you also put aside. Lately, as of like the last 2 years, I've learned that some companies do offer the same benefit, which you put pre-tax dollars aside, and typically you have to spend that money by March 31st of the following year for all costs that are associated with the previous year. But there is other type of accounts that some companies set up where if you do not spend that money for that given calendar year, it's put into somewhat like a IRA for you. I learned that from a coworker, which she's worked for major companies in the past and has been part of her benefits package, including to what we have to offer at our company right now. So really read the information, take that time, and make sure you make the best choices for your family. The other one that I love is the what is it, dependent one as well, where you could put money aside, pre-tax dollars, and it could help cover some of your daycare. I use that for my kids. My kids now 24 and 16. I can no longer participate, but it was one of my favorite things to put money aside, because sometimes it helps cover items such as like late daycare, where your kids stay after school, they get a little bit of tutoring, they're being taken care of while you're at work, and then you pick them up after school hours, right? So that helps cover some of that, and or some of the summer camps. So again, be informed, read all about your benefits, from medical to other benefits that are available with your company.
Yeah, like you were talking about the pre-tax, they're called like HSAs, the health savings account, and those are pre-tax. Anybody, you can look it up through your company website on benefits. You can go to healthcare.gov. These are free tools, and they have them in other languages. So if you want Spanish or Chinese or whatever language you need to, there are resources out there that will speak and have the information in the language that you provide. So this is another way to save money with pre-tax money, which is great, and then work that money for prescription, going to co-payments. And along those lines, there's also the long-term and short-term disability. And you just never know. Sometimes it's really beneficial to have it, because you just never know if you're ever going to be out sick with short-term or long-term, and this will supplement your income. So these are really added benefits that we're always looking at. You just never know. And with the pandemic, there's been so many illnesses that are coming out of the work world. You just never know what's out there. I would say it's always good to pay a little bit of extra money and have that, get that really good insurance plan to make you sleep better at night and not worry about this in the future, just in case.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I would say take it a step further. There's additional added benefits, whether it's life insurance that your employer can provide, and a lot more cheap. It's cheaper than your traditional. You don't have to go through and do like a health screening. And this is something that is also sometimes available through your employer, not just for you, but also for your spouse, believe it or not. And so there's quite a lot. And so sometimes we just don't take the time to really research. But as Vanessa and Rosario shared, um, just take that time, because then you can always ensure that you do have added benefits and protections that you may have not thought of. But given the fact that we have come out of, the pandemic, and we still see kind of just how our health can still be very fragile. I'm speaking as well from experience, just recently getting ill, yet again, right? And not being able to recoup at the same rate that I had been in the past. And I realized, okay, either clearly I'm getting older, but it's also just our environment, our health. And sometimes, we don't want to consider how fragile we are as humans, but sometimes we do. And particularly when you've got families that depend on you, it's really important that you take that time just to really safeguard everything that comes with your health. And if that means just taking 24 hours or so just to print out some stuff and take a really good look at your plans, it's well worth it.
And, along the lines you mentioned about how our families depend on us, many employers also offer like some type of legal package. It's fairly inexpensive. And some of the team members I worked with in the past have actually aligned themselves with one of the attorneys that is a member of this legal package that companies offer, and completed their will and trust.
That is absolutely right.
Critically important.
Yeah.
It brings the cost down so much from you on your own going out and seeking that on your own. So I would highly recommend for everybody to take a look at that. And if you do participate, take a look at the list of attorneys and who does will and trust for you. So just wanted to
Very important. Yeah. And then, I mean, just the benefits alone, right? That is awesome. Dental and vision is another benefit that we have. God knows we have to take care of our eyes and our teeth. And then going back to school also is a benefit that a lot of employers will cover education. So it's really great right now to redo your benefits, to look at every opportunities that are out there so you can really move forward with your health, move forward with your personal development and your education, and then also the legal aspect, to Rosario's point.
Yeah. And Rosario, one of my colleagues shared that not too long ago, where him and his family were able to complete what would be their will, their trust, all through the legal service package. That is a employer-based benefit that's really inexpensive per month. And they were able to complete all of that, which was really, compared to just the average cost of what a trust and a will cost you, was a fraction of the price through this. And once they ended up getting that, he actually, the following year, didn't actually move forward with the legal aid because he already had gotten his entire package. So it's not like a commitment that you need to do year over year, but ultimately work it to your advantage to basically get the benefit of this legal service, so that you can tap into the network of attorneys that can help provide this. And this is even more important for those that do have and own homes or real estate or assets. Again, it's just ensuring that you have a succession plan, and you don't have, clearly the state determining what would come about of your decisions now that you're no longer here. And so that's really important for you to consider as well.
That's a great valid point. All right, leaders. Well, you heard it here. We need to work on our benefits. Take the time to review your benefits. If it's a weekend, evening event, this is really critical. So look at your benefits now that you have open enrollment season. Next time, we're going to continue personal development here, and we're going to talk more coming up on assessments and also business reviews and also business planning. So that's coming up next. But we want to thank you for the opportunity for us to share a little bit of knowledge for you to be better with your benefits and look at your options. So thank you, leaders. We will see you here soon at our next All Up meeting. Have a wonderful day and keep leading.